of the records that was a big record, first record that you did was the Rage record.
Yeah.
It has so much air to it.
Yes.
And
that low end is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's puffy sounding to me. It really makes the speaker
Yeah.
jump nicely. There's reverb on the bass in that first part. Mm-hmm. And it sounds great.
Oh,
right
good,
in that intro part. The mix is so tight too when you listen to it here. And
yeah. Well, overall, there's not a lot of reverb on the mix.
Right. It's in your
pretty
face.
Dry.
But just, I think it sounds like you just use the reverb on the bass just in that intro section and you take it away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very likely. I don't recall exactly. It's been a long time since I've even heard that. And a very long time since I mixed it.
That's a super punchy mix.
Yeah, but it's a real punchy mix.
Yes.
And that's obviously that's what I was going for. And, in my way of thinking, I tend to be a little shy on reverbs.
Yeah.
And I use them selectively.
Yeah.
Like you just said.
Yeah.
And, but when I want it to really sound, unlike, not that I use a lot of reverb on the Nirvana song, but that one, it was about the roar.
Yes.
This one is about the space.
Yes.
Between the punch.
Yeah.
And so I try to achieve as much of that as possible by keeping the reverb down a little bit. So when something goes silent, it's silent. After a natural, I'll put maybe a little short room on things just so it sounds real. But
okay,
anyway,
so short room. I've read things like PCM 70s or Lexicon 224s or 480Ls. What are the reverbs that you like to use?
Years and years ago, before any of those even existed,
Yeah.
there were other alternatives. But I certainly use the 480L a lot.
Okay.
For all different lengths, and typically I have at my disposal when I start a mix I may want for some special effect a super long reverb, but as far as what I paint the picture with,
Yep.
I usually have something that's about maybe a second and a half decay, something that's about less than a second, pretty short. And then maybe something that's like a longer decay, 3 seconds or something like that.
For more of a special effect thing, something like that.
Yeah, and even for sometimes a touch, depending on what I'm going for. But I use the shorter ones more often and more of it because I sometimes want it to be where you don't even notice it's on there. But when I take it out, or if I take it out, then it starts, that particular instrument, whether it's a snare or something, starts to sound a little artificial, like it doesn't exist. Now, sometimes I'll do that for an effect or something, but in a regular rock record like that, I don't want you to feel like it's artificial. I want you to feel like it's the best concert you've ever been to, and you're right in there with it, but not in a big echoey hall,
I'd like to take a second to talk to you about this channel. This is actually Rick Beato 2. I've had it since the beginning of my main channel, and many of you are not subscribed. As a matter of fact, 87% of the people that watch this channel regularly are not subscribed. So I encourage you to hit the subscribe button on this channel and on my main channel. This will help me get even more of my dream guests and help continue to grow both channels. Thank you.
And delays. What's a like a PCM 42?
PCM 42.
Like that?
A lot of times I'll use that for delays. Yep.
And do you like delays on the voice? And we use delay and reverb on the voice, or what we use the delays for? Like a delay,
especially
throw
on
for
lead
something?
things, lead guitars. Sometimes I'll put a little slap on it.
Yeah.
Usually not totally dry, with a little reverb in with it, but just so you get this bah, so you get a swell feeling rather than just bah, just to make that thing a little more interesting,
But when you hear this mix, it's real. It's so in your face.
Yeah.
And how much does the compression, the bus compression, make that punchiness? Is the bus compression adding to this? Is there compression on the drum bus that is what's giving that bass drum and the low end that beautiful punch?
I try not to get too carried away with compression.
Yep.
But I do use it not so much for level control or dynamic control even. I'd rather do that with a fader move.
Yep.
But I do use it sometimes to provide a certain color to the
Like
instrument.
tone shaping.
Yes, exactly. And I'll use that rather than EQ to create a certain feeling. And I don't know how to describe it. It's just something that I listen to, you know. And I rarely compress a stereo drum bus.
Okay.
Usually it's the individual instruments.
Yep.
And perhaps different amounts, because again, I'm going for a sound, and the sound that works, you know, if I use compression at all, the sound that works on the snare is not necessarily going to be the sound I want on the kick drum.
Yeah.
And but getting back to the mix, I do usually use a little bit of compression from the board. It's
Yep.
usually the SSL compressor.
Yep.
But somewhat gently, you know, maybe 2 to 3 dB of variation, you know, at the loudest parts.
Do you use the auto release on it, or do you
I
use,
do.
Okay.
I generally use auto release.
4-to-1, something like that, or does that depend?
Usually a little less than that, you know, 2 or 3 to 1, I think, as I recall. I do it by ear, but it
Yeah.
usually ends up in that range. Not too extreme, but again, it's enough that if you take it off, you will hear a little difference, a subtle difference.
Yeah.
You know? But I also I understand that any mix that I do, hopefully, will end up on a record and be mastered by a mastering engineer. And I try not to outthink them and do their job.